Okay, I'm going to start this by actually kind of running through the different types of oils and fats that you can fry your any of your veg or your meats in. I'm going to start with the lard, which is down here, which is actually an animal fat. You can tell that it's an animal fat because it's actually solid at room temperature. This one is a pork fat, basically, so it will have a pork like flavour. It is a saturated fat, which is worse for you, and you have to be very careful that you do not have too much of this in your diet. It also has quite a high smoking temperature, which means that you can heat it to quite a high heat. If you are frying chips and things like that, or deep fat frying, traditionally you would have used lard. This is sunflower oil, and this is olive oil, and these are both unsaturated fats. These are slightly better for you, although a moderated intake is necessary. Sunflower oil is preferred for frying any type of chicken or any type of meats and veg, largely because its properties remain the same, and like the lard, it has a high smoking point. The olive oil, really, because it has its own flavour, should be used as a dressing, and if you are cooking at a low temperature, if you're frying at a low temperature, that's because the olive oil, actually the structure of the olive oil will change if you heat it too high. Okay, so bearing in mind what I've said about having to moderate your intake, it is best not to estimate how much oil you have going into the pan. So I'm actually using a 15 milliliter spoon or a 1 tablespoon measuring spoon, and I'm just going to fill that up and pour it into my pan, and you'll notice that it doesn't spread right the way to the edges because I don't actually need it to do so. Now I'm going to put this onto heat. I'm going to put it onto a medium heat. So if you select the right hob, and you'll notice that I've chosen the biggest ring at the back because I want my pan to heat quite evenly. Turn the dial by pushing it in and making sure it's on a middle flame. The middle flame is equal to the dot. So I'm just going to leave that to heat for a little while whilst I tend to the chicken. If I was to put the chicken in now, it wouldn't actually start cooking because the oil is not hot enough. Now what I'm going to do is actually using hand towels or kitchen towels, I'm going to dry off my chicken. I'm doing this because quite often if you buy chicken in bulk, especially from big supermarkets, what happens is you will end up being filled quite a lot with water, and what will happen is that when you start to fry it, your pan will fill with water, and it's not particularly nice. Once you've managed to dry all of your chicken and your oil is hot enough, you can place your chicken into your pan. Making sure that you've not got any paper on your chicken, and I would recommend placing it all in together so it cooks all at the same time. So just take it all and place it in. Now you'll notice that I actually put my hand quite close to the oil, and I didn't drop it into from a great height. I did that because even though, sorry, I'm going to wash my hands so that I don't die of salmonella and food poisoning. Even though the oil is hot, it is easier to control from a low height. Now, as you can see, my oil is spitting, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that temperature right down. I don't want my oil to spit because then it's leaving the pan and it's not going to help cook the chicken. Now, as you can see, the chickens are actually already turning white on one side, but it's pink on the other. It's quite important that you actually use your wooden spoon to rotate them if you can, and place them face down. Now, a lot of people will know that your chicken has to be white all the way through to see if it's cooked. If, however, you, like me, have put a lot of care and attention into making sure that your pieces are all the same. What you don't want to do is actually have to cut them up. So a good test of this is actually to push against the chicken with your wooden spoon, with the tip of your wooden spoon. If it feels quite jelly-like and it pushes back, it's still quite raw. If, however, when you push through, you can feel it break and and it starts to tear under the pressure of the spoon, it means that it's actually cooked through.